Hello everyone and welcome to my Soap Twist 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Steffy Forrester strode back and forth across the dimly illuminated corridor of the Forrester Creations building, her heels tapping hard against the polished marble floor. The weight of the past few weeks pushed down on her like an unseen storm cloud, which had been building since her mother, Taylor Hayes, announced her startling choice to move in with Deacon Sharp. Steffy was irritated not only by the silliness of it all, but also by Taylor's irresponsibility in aligning herself with a man who had spent years manipulating, plotting, and wrecking people's lives. Deacon was a walking disaster, a repentant convict with a criminal record as long as the Pacific Coast Highway, and he suddenly had her mother's attention. Steffy couldn't let this happen. She would not. Her phone buzzed in her fingers, interrupting her thoughts. It was a text from Ridge. "Have you talked to your mom yet? This is insane." Steffy sighed, her fingers hesitating over the screen before typing back a short, "Working on it." Ridge was just as shocked as she was, but he was too preoccupied with his own drama with Brooke to move decisively. No, this fell on Steffi's shoulders. She needed an ally, someone who knew the extent of Deacon's deception, someone who despised him almost as much as she did, or possibly even more. The notion struck her like a bolt of lightning, freezing her in place. Sheila Carter. The word alone sent shivers down most people's spines, but Steffy had learned over the years that desperation makes weird bedfellows. Sheila had a grudge against Deacon that went deeper than blood. He had betrayed her, abused her, and discarded her like yesterday's trash. Sheila could help demolish this twisted affair before it went out of control. Steffy looked around the empty corridor to ensure no one was watching, then dialed a number she never expected to call again. The phone rang twice before a sultry, familiar voice answered. "Steffy Forrester. What do I owe this unexpected pleasure to?" Steffy's hold on the phone tightened.
"Sheila.
"We need to talk. In person. It's about Deacon and my mother." There was a pause, then a low chuckle that made Steffy's skin crawl. "Oh, honey, you've got my attention. Meet me at Il Giardino in an hour. And come alone." Steffy hung up without saying anything further, her heart hammering. This was dangerous, insane, even, but Taylor's life was worth it. She grabbed her purse and drove towards the restaurant, the Los Angeles sun beaming down on her. Il Giardino was a neutral ground where business was done in the shadows of pasta bowls and wine glasses. When she came, Sheila was already sat at a corner table, her red hair cascading like a caution flag and a glass of red wine in hand. "Steffy," Sheila purred as Steffy came, pointing to the unoccupied chair. "Sit. You look like you've seen a ghost. Or is it just the thought of your precious mommy shacking up with my ex?" Steffy sank into the seat, her gaze fixed on Sheila's. "This isn't a social call, Sheila. Taylor is in danger. Deacon is poison, and you know it better than anyone." Sheila reclined back, swirling her wine. "Oh, I know Deacon all right. That man is a snake in human clothing. He sweet-talked his way into my life, promised me the world, and then stabbed me in the back the first chance he got. But Taylor? The high and mighty psychiatrist falling for him? That's rich." "She's vulnerable," Steffy said with a low, urgent voice. "After everything with Ridge and the family drama, she's looking for stability, and Deacon's feeding her lies. We have to stop this before he hurts her, or worse." Sheila's eyes sharpened, a spark of intrigue lighting in them. "And what exactly do you propose we do, princess? Kidnap her? Lock her up in a tower?" Steffy shook her head. "Nothing that dramatic.
Yet.
We need to expose Deacon for who he really is. Remind Taylor of his past, his crimes, the people he's destroyed. You have dirt on him, Sheila. Things even I don't know." Sheila's face began to pucker up. "Oh, I have plenty. But why should I help you? What's in it for me?" Steffy had anticipated this. Sheila never did anything without a price. Freedom from his shadow. If we get Taylor away from him, he'll be alone, desperate. You can swoop in and make him pay, or just watch him crumble. Either way, you get revenge. Sheila thought this, tapping her manicured nails on the table. Tempting. But I want more. Immunity. If this blows up, you make sure the foresters don't come after me. Steffy paused and nodded. Sheila chuckled. Deal. As long as you don't cross any lines. Lines are my specialty. All right, Steffy. We're in this together. For now. Their unlikely alliance was formed over untouched appetizers. Steffy exited the restaurant with a mix of dread and determination in her gut. Teaming up with Sheila Carter was like dancing with the devil, but if it meant saving Taylor, she'd brave the fire. Taylor Hayes, back at Deacon's apartment above Il Giardino, smiled as she unpacked the last of her boxes. The space was tiny in comparison to the Forrester home, yet it seemed authentic and grounded. Deacon had been extremely attentive since she moved in, cooking her favorite meals, listening to her discuss her patient sessions, and even joining her for morning yoga. It was a long cry from the craziness of her relationship with Ridge. "You're sure about this?" Hope Logan inquired, standing at the doorway after assisting with the relocation. Hope had been encouraging, but Taylor could sense an underlying anxiety. "Absolutely," Taylor said, folding a jumper. "Deacon makes me happy, Hope. He sees me, not the drama or the history." Hope nodded, but her grin did not reach her eyes. "Just be careful, okay? Dad has a way of pulling people in." Deacon appeared behind Hope, throwing an arm around her shoulders. "Hey, kiddo. Give your old man some credit. I'm reformed." Hope rolled her eyes as she hugged him goodbye before departing. Deacon turned to Taylor and pulled her into his arms. "See? Even Hope's coming around. This is our fresh start, Doc." Taylor melted into his hug, but a nagging uncertainty persisted in the back of her mind. She'd heard the rumors, the warnings from Steffy and Ridge, but she ignored them. Love necessitated trust, correct? Meanwhile, Steffy returned to the cliffside property she lived with Finn and their children. Her husband, John Finnegan, was in the living room, playing with Hayes and Kelly. He looked up as she arrived, his doctor instincts taking over at the sight of her tight demeanor. "Everything okay?" he inquired, standing to kiss her cheek. Steffy forced a smile. "Just work stuff. How was your day at the hospital?" Finn was not deceived, but he let it go for now. "I'm busy, but tell me about yours later. Dinner's almost ready." As they sat down to eat, Steffy's thoughts raced with plans. She needed to collect proof against Deacon, including old police reports, witness testimony, and anything Sheila might supply. But she had to be careful. One wrong move and Sheila would turn against her. The next morning, Steffy and Sheila met on a secluded park seat overlooking the city. Sheila appeared with a manila folder tucked under her arm, her face arrogant. "Jackpot," she announced, sliding it over the bench. Bank statements show Deacon's been funneling money from Il Giardino into shady offshore accounts, plus photos of him meeting with some old prison buddies. Nothing concrete yet, but enough to cast doubt. Steffy read through the documents, her eyes widening. "This is good, but we need more. Something personal, something that hits Taylor emotionally." Sheila bit her lip. "Leave that to me. I know Deacon's weaknesses. He can't resist a damsel in distress. What if I stage a little crisis? Pretend I'm in trouble, draw him out, and you catch him in the act." Steffy gave a frown. "Too risky. If he suspects—" "Trust me," Sheila interrupted. "I've played this game before. He'll bite." Against her better judgment, Steffy agreed. The strategy was set. Sheila would call Deacon, claiming distress over a family emergency affecting their son Finn. Deacon, always the opportunist, would hurry to aid, displaying his real colors. Taylor and Deacon were enjoying a nice meal at home when Sheila called. Deacon's face turned pale as he listened. "It's Sheila," he murmured to Taylor. Taylor's psychiatric instincts kicked in. "She says she's in trouble, something about the police." "Go to her. She might need help." Deacon hesitated before nodding. "I'll be quick." He kissed her goodbye and dashed out. Taylor watched him leave, a tinge of worry creeping in. Was this the man she assumed she knew? Steffy, hiding in the darkness outside Il Giardino with her camera, waited. Sheila had decided to meet Deacon in the alley behind the restaurant. Sheila delivered her performance as Deacon arrived, frantic. "Deacon, thank God," she sobbed, falling into his arms. "The cops are after me again. I need money and a place to hide." Deacon backed away, his gaze darkening. "Sheila, I told you, I'm done with that life. I have Taylor now." Sheila's tears dried instantaneously. "Taylor? That boring shrink? You're trading me for her?" "It's not like that," Deacon said with anger. "I'm happy. For once." Steffy took shots from a distance, capturing the intense discussion. But Sheila was not done. She grasped Deacon's arm. "You owe me, Deacon, after all I've done for you." Deacon shoved her aside. "Get off me. Go ruin someone else's life." The argument heated up, with shouts echoing. Steffy moved closer, her heart thumping. This was gold, proof of Deacon's fury and his connection to Sheila's disarray. But then calamity struck. In a flash of wrath, Sheila pulled out a tiny knife from her purse. "If I can't have you, no one will." Deacon immediately disarmed her, but not before Steffy gasped loudly. Deacon swung around, noticing her. "Steffy? What the hell?" Steffy fled, but Deacon pursued her. Sheila laughed hysterically from the alley. Taylor, knowing something was wrong, had followed Deacon at a distance. She came just in time to witness the chase. "Deacon? Steffy." The scene froze. Taylor's gaze shifted between her daughter, her boyfriend, and the woman holding a knife. "Mom, listen," Steffy began. Taylor drew away, horrified. "What is this? You two together?" Deacon stretched out to her. "Taylor, it's not what it looks like. Sheila set this up." But Taylor didn't listen. The warnings, the misgivings, the unexpected emergency. She'd been duped. "No," she muttered, tears welling up. "I trusted you." She bolted, leaving Deacon to chase her down. Steffy caught up with her mother in the car. Taylor wheeled on her. "Mom, wait. I did this for you. By teaming up with Sheila Carter? Are you insane?" "I had no choice," Steffy demanded. "He's dangerous, Mom. Look at what just happened." Taylor's willpower weakened. The knife, the argument, it was just too much. "I need space. From all of you." She drove away, leaving Steffy alone. Back home, Finn consoled Steffy as she described the incident. "You took a huge risk, but maybe it worked." Taylor saw the truth. Steffy nodded, but guilt gnawed at her. At what cost? Now she's hurt, and Sheila's free. Sheila, meanwhile, slinked away into the night, her strategy partially accomplished. Deacon was exposed, but she had lost her grip on him. For now. Days have passed. Taylor remained in a motel, ignoring calls from Ridge, Steffy, and Deacon. She relived the moment in her thoughts, the betrayal hurting deep. How had she been so blind? Steffy, undeterred, gathered the evidence, the images, the documents, and anonymously gave it to Taylor with the note. "This is who he really is. Protect yourself." When Taylor received the package, she read it late into the night. The bank records and meetings with criminals formed a picture of a guy still trapped in darkness. Deacon knocked on her hotel door the next day. "Taylor, please. Let me explain." She opened the door slightly. "Explain the money laundering? The secret meetings?" Deacon's face sank. "It's not. Okay, some of it's true. But I'm trying to change." "Trying isn't enough," Taylor replied with a harsh tone. She slammed the door. "I deserve better." Deacon fell against it in defeat. Hope found him later and tried to console him. "Dad, maybe it's for the best." But Deacon wasn't giving up. He confronted Sheila in her refuge. "You did it, you and Steffy." Sheila smiled softly. "Guilty. But you made it easy." Their disagreement became violent, with Deacon seizing her arm. "Stay away from my life." Security broke it up, but the harm had already been done. Word circulated across Los Angeles's gossip mill. Ridge came at the motel and hugged Taylor. "Come home, Doc. We've got you." Taylor leaned against him, the old familiarity relieving her anguish. "I was so stupid." "No," Ridge answered. "You are hopeful. That is not stupid," Steffy said, apologizing. "I hate that I hurt you, Mom." But I couldn't watch him destroy you. Taylor was sobbing. Teaming up with Sheila was reckless, Steffy. But, thank you. You saved me. They hugged, the schism beginning to mend. Sheila, sensing the tide turning, planned her next move. Steffy had triumphed for the time being, however. Taylor packed her luggage and left Deacon's flat for good. Deacon sat alone in the empty space, gazing at the unpacked boxes. What have I done? Hope attempted to approach him, but he shoved her away. The reformer had retreated into isolation. Weeks later, Taylor returned to the Forrester estate, where she focused on her practice and family. Steffy maintained a watchful eye on Sheila, who had disappeared underground. Finn squeezed Steffy's hand one afternoon when they were walking on the beach. You did the right thing, even if it was messy. Steffy agreed. Family first. Always. But in the shadows, Sheila observed a new strategy forming. Alliances change, but vendettas persist. Taylor, feeling stronger now, confided in Ridge over coffee. Ridge grinned. I see clearly now. Deacon was a mistake. We've all made them. Welcome back. The Forresters closed ranks, Taylor safe within their fold. Steffy's risk paid off, but the consequences lasted. Deacon, who was rebuilding Il Giardino's business, made a quiet pledge to win Taylor back. But some bridges, once burned, remain ashes. Sheila, ever the wild card, texted Steffy. Round 1 to you. But the game's not over. Steffy deleted it, but the cold persisted. In Los Angeles, serenity was always fleeting. As the sun sank over the city, Steffy hugged her family, grateful for the victory, however fleeting. The drama continued, with threads forming new patterns. Taylor mended, Steffy remained alert, and Sheila plotted. Deacon is alone. Life in the bold and beautiful style, never boring, always difficult. Taylor poured herself into her career, counseling patients about how to prevent unhealthy relationships. Irony is noted. Steffy and Finn renewed their vows in a simple ceremony to commemorate stability. Ridge and Brooke maneuvered their unending dance, while Taylor remained outside. Deacon dated casually, but nothing compared to Taylor. Sheila reappeared some months later, but that's another story. For the time being, the squad has achieved its goal of keeping Taylor away from Deacon. Steffy reflected frequently about the alliance. Necessary evil? Perhaps. But she would do it again. For love. For family. Is it the end? Hardly. But a chapter was closed. Steffy had been trying for weeks to convince herself that ignoring the situation would make it go away. Deacon Sharp had always been a source of contention for the Forresters, his name representing turmoil, manipulation, and heartache. But this time, Deacon wasn't sinking his hooks into Brooke or Hope. He was making his way toward Taylor, which fueled Steffy's protective instincts more than ever. Taylor had finally found peace after years of emotional anguish, and Steffy was not about to let Deacon disrupt her mother's tranquility. Despite her desperation, Steffy eventually picked a solution she had never considered before, collaborating with Sheila Carter. She hadn't planned for this. She had not wanted it. In fact, when Sheila originally mentioned that they shared common goals, Steffy immediately dismissed the concept. Sheila always had nefarious reasons, and Steffy never trusted her. But as she saw Taylor soften toward Deacon, the smiles, the casual talks, the subtle emotional pull that was developing between them, Steffy felt the floor shake beneath her. Taylor dedicated her heart to someone, and Steffy was scared that Deacon would break it in the same way he had so many others. Steffy sought to approach Taylor directly. She gently reminded her of Deacon's past, his insecurity, and his poor sense when it came to women. Taylor listened politely, nodded sympathetically, and dismissed every warning with her characteristic serene optimism. People can change, Taylor would often say. That was Taylor's blessing, and her curse. Steffy didn't want to lose her capacity to find the good in everyone, but she couldn't let her mother be caught off guard by a man who had previously ruined so many opportunities. After several days of failing to reach Taylor, Steffy feared the issue was getting out of control. When she saw Taylor and Deacon together at Il Giardino, laughing like old friends and connecting in a way that seemed eerily like the beginning of something bigger. Steffy snapped. The idea of Deacon infiltrating her mother's life, their family, and their fragile stability made her feel trapped, and she sought an escape. Or, more specifically, a path through. That's when Sheila emerged in her orbit, like a storm cloud about to break. Sheila approached with her typical blend of feigned innocence and cunning intent. She was already aware of Deacon's interest in Taylor. Deacon didn't exactly conceal his flirtations, and Sheila, who was still keeping an eye on him, saw everything she needed to. Sheila played her hands gently, gradually convincing Steffy that she had more power over the situation than she thought. At first, Steffy said no. She said heck no. She informed her that she would never, ever work with the lady who had shot her and her mother, nearly destroying their entire family. But Sheila knew how to make people open up. She knew which buttons to push. And Steffy was vulnerable, anxious, angry, and scared of losing her mother to the wrong person. Sheila successfully instilled terror. Deacon was not trustworthy. Deacon was not stable. Deacon would eventually relapse into harmful behaviors. Taylor deserved better. Taylor deserved someone who loved her and wasn't burdened by a life of chaos.